For over a century, the Teamsters Union has made the American dream a reality for millions of workers. Their success resulted from Teamster ancestors who banded together to form the labor unions and movement and fought for rights and privileges that most Americans enjoy today. But what do we know about the Teamsters leaders and pioneers who shaped the union into what it is today? To start with, the Teamsters Union was formed in 1903 by a merger of the Team Drivers International Union and the Teamsters National Union. In 1905, Cornelius Shea was chosen as the first Teamster president. Drivers of horse-drawn wagons and warehouse workers were severely mistreated at the time by their corporately greedy employers. As the two organizations merged, their influence gradually increased, giving them the ability to strike and halt production because the Teamsters were essentially the backbone of the economy. This implied that Teamsters' local officials could demand payments to prevent strikes, and that organized crime could profit significantly from influencing a Teamsters local. Imagine the catastrophe if access to public transportation were shut in our modern age. Many of us would immediately be unable to function, and that was the extent of what the Teamsters strike meant. Now the entire Teamsters Union was infamously corrupt while Shea was president. Under his direction, the Teamsters became one of the biggest labor unions in the country, with approximately 50,000 members spread across 821 locals in 300 locations. He joined the Chicago outfit, and despite being charged numerous times, he frequently avoided prosecution. He was dismissed from union matters after serving a brief prison sentence for attempted murder.
Scary.
In August 1907, union members elected Dan Tobin to replace Shea after ousting him. Shea, like other Teamster presidents, Dave Beck, Roy Williams, and the infamous Jimmy Hoffa, had ties to organized crime. We'll discuss Jimmy Hoffa's term as general president very soon, so make sure you don't miss that. The union grew from 38,905 to 1,120,245 members under Dan Tobin's leadership, providing the Teamsters a strength foundation unmatched by other labor unions. When he was elected president, big city locals controlled the union. They were responsible for all research, contract negotiations, legal services, communication, and strike activity. All local unions were compelled to unite with joint councils, which Tobin promoted. The joint councils, which varied in their geographic and industrial jurisdiction, developed into significant breeding grounds for future leaders. They also created a forum for establishing master agreements that apply to all companies in a specific sector. To bring discipline to the union and persuade businesses to sign contracts, Tobin actively discouraged strikes as collective bargaining became the standard throughout the Teamsters. In addition, Tobin established a union publication. For most of his term as president, Tobin oversaw the Teamsters dictatorially. A credible presidential rival did not surface until Dave Beck practically forced Tobin off his seat and replaced him as general president. Tobin had the longest term run of 4 to 5 years, with James P. Hoffa trailing behind him. We'll soon talk about James P. Hoffa, the son of the infamous Teamster boss Jimmy Hoffa, so stay tuned. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and gain access to similar content if you find this video informative. Also, after being elected as general president, Dave Beck made several changes to make it harder for a challenger to build the necessary majority to unseat a president or reject his policies. The Teamsters Union was formidable and grew from 1,100,000 to 1,600,000 by the time Beck left office. It was the largest and most successful labor union in the American Federation of Labor Congress of Industrial Organization, AFL-CIO. Teamsters' success, however, brought problems. Beck's ascension to the presidency coincided with the beginning of labor union investigations, marking the end of his reign in 1957. Next, Jimmy Hoffa presided as the union's general president from 1957 to 1971. Hoffa led his co-workers in a productive strike against a firm in 1932 when he was only 19. In 1957, Jimmy Hoffa won the general election for president at the National Convention. As general president, Jimmy Hoffa earned a solid reputation among his contemporaries as a strong and successful negotiator. He made a lot of effort to increase the proportion of working men and women covered by labor union contracts. The union's membership grew to over 2 million workers under his leadership. His greatest accomplishment was the 1964 National Master Freight Agreement, which brought together more than 400,000 over-the-road drivers under a single contract. Congressman Elmer Holland was quoted as saying, "Jimmy Hoffa has put more bread and butter on the tables for American kids than all his detractors put together." Hoffa was renowned for his love and care for the Teamsters and their families. Jimmy Hoffa was devoted to improving working families' lives and was a strong proponent of the fight against poverty. However, Jimmy Hoffa had ties to organized crime, was convicted in 1971, and disappeared in 1975 after President Nixon pardoned him. What do you think happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Moreover, Frank Fitzsimmons succeeded Jimmy Hoffa, who Roy Williams then followed. Williams was chosen to lead the union in 1981 despite being investigated for alleged union wrongdoing and connections to organized crime.
Criminal history.
Bill Presser succeeded Roy Williams as president of the Teamsters in 1983 when Williams resigned following his conviction for conspiring to bribe a senator. As president, Presser helped the Teamsters rejoin the American Federation of Labor Congress of Industrial Organizations, AFL-CIO. The Teamsters had been expelled 30 years earlier for corruption and racketeering infractions by the AFL. After a series of interim presidents from 1988 to 1992, Ron Carey was elected general president in 1992, and James P. Hoffa succeeded him in 1999. Furthermore, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters' 10th general president was James Philip Hoffa, continuing his father's legacy. He is the second longest-serving general president of the Teamsters Union and the son of Jimmy Hoffa. On March 21, 2022, Hoffa's final tenure as general president concluded. When he was president, Hoffa opposed trade deals that seemed to endanger American jobs, and in 2015, he successfully got the Teamsters out from under Department of Justice oversight that was put in place in 1989. He was also credited with boosting the union's membership and financial standing. Hoffa was repeatedly re-elected. He declared in 2020 that he would not run for re-election as general president, and Sean O'Brien succeeded him in 2022. The Teamsters have fought through countless violent and non-violent battles and remain a formidable force. Although some Teamster union leaders were notoriously corrupt, their actions were necessary if the Teamsters Union was to retain its influence. They have changed the lives of millions. Our next video, the National Teamster Union History, explained in 5 minutes, might interest you if you enjoyed this video.